Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Today we'll be playing some more of the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Last we left off, Satsune Mikotoba, I believe her name is. She interrupted the trial and came in for our rescue. I believe she has some sort of package in her hand, and I imagine it's the glass that was supposed to be in Brett's purse, and I believe there's some poison leftovers or particles in there, and they probably investigated at the forensic lab, and that's what they found, and that's why she's here. So I guess let's just jump in and see what she's about to tell the whole court. So many characters to voice, man. It's so tough.
Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Ha! A judicial assistant? And a woman, no less. Wow. Ouchie. One second you're simping over a woman, the other second you're being a sexist little shit. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify. Yes, I finally understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I feel like that's not a very fitting voice. It fits for Maya, but it doesn't really fit for Susato. That's what her name is. I got her name wrong. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense. Ha! You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded. Not really.
5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
Ah, but Your Excellency, I am most grateful. Okay. It's gotta be that, right? No, there's 3 people at the defense side of things, really? Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please simply accept this for now. What is it? A report about something, written in English. It's Jezaille Brett's research. Oh, the English woman's. After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper. Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? Did she end up killing him to take credit for like some great finding or something? So does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of Curare and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. Is Curare a type of poison? Curare? What's that? I've never heard that word before. Time's up! The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. Wow. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. Wow, very helpful, thank you. This is wonderful, thank you, yeah. Jezaille's report has been entered into the court record. Okay. Goodbye then, and good luck. Merci beaucoup. Okay, let's look at the court record.
You have had long enough, counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer.
Okay, before we do that, let me take a look at this. A report detailing an unknown poison that Miss Brett has been researching during her time at Yume University. Poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America, the hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. Okay. Effects: instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. Okay, so it's a very strong, maybe also fast acting, I guess. Route of entry: the above mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. A wound. I guess the wrist thing, but that would mean. Oh, maybe it was the mouth because he was at the dentist, right? So if he drank the poison, it must have gone through like the, I don't know what he got, but it must have been through a wound in the mouth. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. Okay, so that's why they were looking into it. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. Okay.
We're asking the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but...
Prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance.
Yes, I know. We're just gonna have to present that. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence.
That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior.
Okay, buddy. Okay, sure. I'll take it.
Well, Miss Brett,
Yes, Your Excellency.
if you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid. You're just afraid, period. That's all it is. Oh, I can read that.
Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order.
Yeah. You slippery snick. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. You're just dumb, bro.
My apologies, dear lady. So, counsel, what is this new piece of evidence that demands the court's attention?
Yes!
Miss Jezaille Brett, we understand that you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yumei University doing research. Research by sheer coincidence, perhaps, into a deadly poison. What?
Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel?
A toxin known as Curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
What complete and utter nonsense? Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it.
You wouldn't have done.
What do you mean?
I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Curare before, for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country.
Yeah, it's South American.
It doesn't exist.
Correct, which means no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify the Curare. Okay, so it was actually in the bottle then, maybe. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What? Okay, so it is the bottle and not the glass.
Order! Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist?
Of course.
According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, Curare has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists.
To lace their arrows?
The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with the Curare suffer instant death.
Yeah, it's a very fast-acting poison.
Doesn't that sum it up, Miss Brett?
Trumpery. These aspersions are utter trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and other diners would have surely noticed. Nope.
That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector?
He didn't hear anything, right?
Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that.
I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain.
According to this, however, it's the other way around.
What do you mean, the other way around?
The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that Curare was used.
Explain yourself, Counsel.
The moment this toxin enters a poison person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move.
That's why his wrist had that emblem mark, the burn mark.
Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all.
Oh, terrible.
Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed.
But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death.
The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail.
Yeah, it's really awful. Respiration. Imagine just like being paralyzed and then your organs just shut down, basically. Jesus Christ. Respiration.
In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation.
Ah.
And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. Yeah,
it is horrific. That's hideous.
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. For the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell.
Yeah.
That is the true nature of this deadly Curare poison.
I wonder if this thing is even real. Curare poison. Now I gotta look it up. Curare poison is actually real. Wow. So not only is Curare poison real, it's also pronounced curare. Curare. That's really strange. Okay, interesting. So it is real. Wow, that is horrific, dude. Curare. Complete silence. No one knows what to say.
You're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison.
Objection!
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means for testing. What a happy tale for the defense. If I may. All these facts, you think you're so clever, but you must be taught some. Yep, I knew that was coming. It is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady. Oh my god. So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. That's what? No.
Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual.
Whatever do you mean?
Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime. That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. What's so funny? She's a bit psychotic. Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
May I borrow the bottle for a moment, please?
Well, yes, I don't see, why not?
Okay. Is she gonna drink from it? I do still think it was in the glass and not the bottle itself. Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys.
Sorry?
To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics is laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers. You're a funny little woman. I'm sure she'll be fine. Wait, what are you doing? Did no one see this coming? And where did she get that glass from? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Yep, she's fine. Because it's not in the bottle. It's in the glass. Yep, she's still alive. Maybe. It'd be funny if she just fell and died here. Goodness. Whatever's the matter? You all look quite stunned.
So, no, Kurare. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying?
You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in the grain venue. Most kind.
Ugh.
Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries.
Oh, yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given.
This is problematic, but I'm pretty sure it's the glass, man.
This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she?
Or maybe she put like an antidote into her glass, and so she put the poison in the bottle itself. But I mean, that's way too risky, so she must have put the poison in the glass itself and not the bottle.
How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it.
Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke, we have all the clues now. The bottle of water. I don't think it's the bottle that contains poison. I think it's the glass. Right? It could be the bottle, but it's so risky. It's not the bottle. As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle.
Why, Ryunosuke?
Isn't it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now.
Sometimes your unadulterated naivete really astounds me. But sometimes it's indeed of a good staining until it's as dark as your uniform in the ways of the world.
Kazuma, now is not the time for some philosophy lesson. Oh, is that what this color is supposed to represent?
That was a guileless ending to a promising line of inquiry, Counsel, for which you will be penalized.
Really? I got it wrong? I thought that was for sure right. Ugh, this whole trial is poisoned. There has to have been poison in that bottle. I guess it does contain the poison. Because I got it wrong. If it contains the poison, then that glass is the one that has like an antidote or something in her mouth is... or she maybe drank the antidote beforehand. I guess it contains poison. The culprit did put curare poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position.
You're serious?
Objection!
Fool, are you blind? There is no possible way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Brett drinking that water from it. That's right, which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How, exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court records somewhere. Okay.
Very well, if the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposedly poisoned water unscathed?
It would have to be... Well, it's gotta be the report. Did I miss something here? In the jungles, a poison, subsequent death. Oh, it's only deadly if it enters through a wound, not necessarily... Drinking is not deadly. Okay, that was... I forgot about that bit. But Dr. Wilson had been to the dentist at that time. I mean, can I present a specific page? No, I just present the whole thing.
Yes!
There you go. The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
Objection!
That's not a valid explanation. No? After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. You're the one who's like taking, kind of bringing yourself down here, son. Not Ryunosuke. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes.
I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, Counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to this riddle?
I don't know what it was titled. Special characteristics. Okay. Special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this curare poison, and it's left me curious about something.
Oh, Counsel.
Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting.
So we've been led to believe, yes.
So it's important that it actually goes into the body through a wound. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat?
Yes, good point.
So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison.
Good gracious, Counsel.
No, that would be madness. Okay, good point. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. So even if you eat it, it's fine.
Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense.
Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects, however. When it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew curare's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. We got her good, we got her good.
You meddling little
Oh, what the hell?
rapscallion!
Wow, I was not expecting that, but she is, yeah, she's cracking. She is cracking.
Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be.
Really? Me? Lawyer?
Objection!
All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fail to see how it possibly...
Jesus Christ.
So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly.
What are you trying to say?
Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw.
Schoolboyish?
Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, curare is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus.
Oh yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they?
So, if this little poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he?
But he had been to the dentist. Did it say anything else in the report? Dental treatment prohibited from eating or drinking anything but water. That's all though. That's all we get. But maybe there was an open wound in his mouth.
That's right.
Good gracious.
That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no?
Order in the court. Order. Logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way.
Are you trying to suggest?
Yes, this curare poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial.
That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that.
Wow, she's getting aggressive here. What is this? Welling up inside of me. I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. I feel that. I feel the same way. Especially the closer you get to the end of the case and you kind of know already who the culprit is and you can see them lying through their teeth and the other people kind of believing them. That kind of conviction grows stronger and stronger. Gets more intense. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey. Wow, look at that. It's our first pointy finger of the game, I believe. So this is a very historical moment. I don't think so, Miss Jezaille Brett.
How dare you use that tone with me?
You know very well that there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead.
Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence, as we now know that the poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the curare?
It's gotta be the medical report, right?
Take that!
I'm not even gonna think about it. As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners.
Fatal difference?
Oh,
The toxic effects of curare are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But What if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Yep, that's what I thought. Inside! Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Ah! Oh! Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. Ah, yeah, so she kind of planned ahead, big time.
So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this.
She gonna have a breakdown? Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are also puerile. Puerile? What is that even? What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy, you'll find out soon enough. What is... Whoa. What is she doing? Changing her outfit? You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. Oh, is she gonna break it? No! I mean, it could just slip. Okay. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. No! What is it? What just happened? It's the Englishwoman. She just smashed that bottle. And in the Supreme Court, what a terrible blunder.
Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible, at once.
You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of a mind to recover it. Yeah, I was like, I don't think it's a very good idea to leave the bottle with her. I figured something like that might happen. I didn't actually think it would happen, because I'm like, that's way too outlandish. How could you? You won't get away with this. I think she might. You can thumb the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in that bottle, or not.
You...
And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course! You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady? That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? Oh yeah, we still don't know what's up with the gunshot, right? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No, you killed the victim that day, using karate. And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke and Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor dead in body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor within his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime.
What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. But there's no evidence. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. What about the photo? Which way is the chair facing here? I guess it's the same direction. Never mind. What about here? Okay. Exactly. As you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. delivered in cold blood by the accused Ryunosuke and Naruhodo. Ugh. Judge, come on, everyone just saw her break the bottle. Why are people still, like, questioning her guilt? Like, this doesn't make sense. Japan, come on. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Yeah, no one's commenting on that.
Ryunosuke,
Yes?
you've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it.
What do you mean?
We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head.
In my head?
You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on.
Well, yes, that's true, but I did manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. I was gonna mention that.
So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell.
What I saw, what I felt. Every color. Okay. Are we gonna see more of the... Oh shoot, there's blood. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of this same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Well, this is where we're gonna end it. Things got really out of hand this episode, holy moly, right? The new piece of evidence came in clutch. It felt as though we finally had her cornered, but lo and behold, she just picks up the piece of evidence and destroys it, and no one really comments on it, and everyone's kind of back to suspecting Ryunosuke, which doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever, Ace Attorney, I guess you'll be Ace Attorney, and the judge is stupid as always. The whole Curare poison thing is really, not Curare. That whole poison thing is really cool. I didn't know about this poison, and it's really terrifying, dude. Paralysis, as well as like respiration failure. It's all just so terrifying. You're getting less and less air in, and then eventually suffocating, and all you can do is just let it happen. You cannot move, you cannot say anything. It's terrifying. It's horrible. Like Dr. Wilson, Jesus Christ, he died in a horrible way, and then he got his wrist fucking burned up, and then he got shot after he died. My man, Dr. Wilson did not deserve any of this. Poor man. But this whole thing about remembering every detail, every scene, every color is kind of interesting, but I don't see how we're gonna be able to use this as evidence. I guess if the blood is still there, then that's gonna come in, that's gonna be useful if they go back and look at it again, if it's preserved, of course. But why is the blood there? Let's think on it. Well, the blood, I guess it can only be there if Dr. Wilson was facing the table, right? That's how, because there's no exit wound, so there's no wound on the back. There shouldn't be blood there. So the only blood should be up front, and that blood could have only gotten there if he was shot when he was facing the table. That has to be the importance of this. Jezaille Brett, she is a very smart lady. You gotta give her credit for that. She kind of honestly surprised me when she drank the poison, because for some reason I completely forgot about the whole the need of a wound to be there. I kind of figured it was through the mouth and the dentist thing would have come into play. But yeah, she's cool. Like, as much as I don't like her, she's an interesting kind of sort of character. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.